Hi, this is Joyce Stech, and welcome to the Joyce Stech Podcast Show. Let's talk. Yeah, beyond the surface. And what are we talking about today? We're talking about boundaries as benedictions. Wow. Sounds a little bit religious. No, it's not. Why don't you join us? Because how do you set up boundaries to be sacred for yourself? You ready to rock and roll? Let's do this. Hi, Joyce Stech here, and welcome to the Joyce Stech Podcast Show. Let's talk beyond the surface. And today we are going beyond boundaries as benedictions. Yeah. So hello there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Let's Talk with Joyce Stech. That's me. And in our last conversation, we remembered that care doesn't have to drain you. But here's the next layer. Hey, what protects that balance once you've reclaimed it? And the answer to that is boundaries. Boundaries. You know, not the kind built from fear or control or guilt, but boundaries as benedictions. And what's a benediction? I'm using it as a sacred blessing that keeps love in its highest form. Yeah. Benediction, sacred blessings that keep love in its highest form. So today we're going to reframe boundaries from walls of defense to gates of grace. Because your no can be just as holy as your yes. So how about doing a little core reframe for yourself, all right? So boundaries aren't punishments. I mean, I work with a lot of people, and I've noticed that how many of you out there listening don't have any boundaries because you weren't brought up with them yourself. Your parents didn't have them. So nobody ever taught you. I have people that when I go, you need a boundary, they go, yeah, but I don't even know how to set one up. Where they think that boundaries are bad things, because if you say no to somebody, or you actually say what's important to you, like, I'm sorry, I don't like that, or I don't want that, or I don't want to go there, the other person uses it against you, or you've been so manipulated in these ways that you get guilty because you stood up for yourself. So boundaries aren't punishment, they're actually permission. They don't separate you from love. They actually teach love where it's welcome. We're going to get to that. Because without them, everything starts to leak. Trust me, your energy leaks, your focus leaks, your sense of self goes down the toilet, basically. Because when you have them, and you have boundaries, and you're very clear, because I'm not going to get into that because I have lessons on this stuff. But boundaries are made to protect your own personal values and principles. And so when you have them, love stays pure. You stay pure. You stay true and loyal to your true self. Not polluted by resentment, not polluted by performance, not trying to be something you're not to someone who cannot not only not see you for who you are, but love you for who you are, or they're probably not your match. They're probably not for you, and that's hard for us to come to sometimes. That understanding. And boundaries, oh sweetie, yeah, they'll test you. Your own boundaries that you made will test you. Are you strong enough to uphold your own principles and values? How many people sell out? Their boundaries are so weak that I call them, their boundaries aren't fences. Their boundaries will fold like you wouldn't believe, because they don't even believe their own boundaries or their own values or principles. You know, for me, boundaries are just something that, well, there's something I believe in very strongly. And so therefore, they're not just something I teach. The reason I teach them, and I really do spend a lot of time on people, if you go for values, I think your values, knowing your values are one of the most important things. Because if you don't know your values and your principles, what is your purpose? I mean, people, I want to know my purpose. Know your values and principles because that's what you live by. Because if they're not being matched, that's where all your little holes come in. That's the things that you think, why am I searching? Why can't I find myself? It's because you can't find yourself because they're hidden in your values. So sit and figure out what your true values are and then protect them and protect them with your life. That's how important I believe they are. Because I really believe that, so I live with them. And there's something I've had to practice myself. I've had to practice them in public. Okay, this happened just this year actually. I'm really bad about, like, even when I'm on vacation, I'm working. I can work all the time. Because I love working. And why do I love working? I love working because my work is not work to me. It's my passion, and I get to work with people. And the people that just energizes me. So my work doesn't deplete me. My work actually energizes me. Doing this podcast is like, oh my God, I gotta do a podcast. It's like, oh hell, this is so much fun. Okay? Because I get to connect. And connection is so important to me. Are you with me? But this is what happened. But I realized somewhere in there, I take away from other people because of it. So I promised, and one of the people is me, okay? So I promised I was going to go visit my kids over on the East Coast. And my family's there. My son is there, my daughter-in-law, and my 3 grandchildren are there. And I said, I'm going to take the time, and I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to take a call. I'm not going to do any private appointments. I'm just not going to do that. And I put out a thing like, hey, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this for me, right? Because it's important. So get this, right? No sessions, no recordings, no quick 5-minute calls, no returning any texts. Okay. And this is what I do 24/7. Okay. So my body said, Joyce, you need to step out of the field. You need to breathe, and you just need to be like your own little human self without anything else. Okay. So I sent the message out to everyone, my clients, my team, my friends, everyone, like, hey, look, I'm going to be offline from this date to this date. It was 1 week, by the way, 1 week, not a month, not 3 years. Okay. One week. And the field is closed. This field is closed for maintenance. I will not be returning your text. I will not be there. I am not leaving you in a lurch, but I need to do this for me, for my family. It's real important. And of course, the moment you declare a boundary, the universe is going to test it. The universe is going to test it. Okay. So like, are you serious about this? So this is what happens. Like, so I seriously, texts started rolling in from people even I haven't heard in a while. It's like texts started rolling in like, hey, I know you're off. I know you're important, and, I respect you, but I just need one quick thing, or I just need one more answer, or I know you're on vacation, but I really need your energy right now. Like, whatever. And I'm telling you what, it wasn't that, they were trying to do anything, against me, or they were being pushy or anything. They weren't. They're my clients. I love them, and I'm always open to them. But it was so hard. When it just happens all the time. It'll happen to you. You put up your boundary, and then it's like, okay, you put up the fence, and then people that never even came to your door before are there going, I couldn't get to your door because, like, you have a fence up. Like, you never came here to begin with. So anywhere, I'm offline from this date to this date. Field is closed for maintenance, and really, I got more text than I normally get. So every part of my old pattern, I'm going to tell you what, I wanted to cave. I did. I wanted to cave. Don't tell everybody, but I did want to cave because it's so easy for me to answer the text or to give a short little audio or something like that, But I said, it was that rescue part of me, whatever, that equates love with accessibility. Like, look, I'm admitting some of my sins here. Like, yeah, it equates love with accessibility. It whispered, like, Joyce, just this once, Joyce, just this once. You set up a boundary. You need to live, like, one of my values is integrity. So you need to live by your word. You made a commitment, and you need to stick by it for you to believe in you and to trust you, right? It was like, whoa, okay. I didn't cave. And I took a deep breath. I smiled to myself and I thought, nope, no, this is real work. Joyce, you're doing your own work and this is real work. So I stayed quiet and I felt, that silence would be my sermon. And at one point, I actually did put out text. I had a text that I put out to anybody who was texting that said, that's just this. It was very honest and open. It said, look, I know you know this, and I know where you are. You know that I'm with you etherically. You've got support. And I promised this to myself. I promised not to do this. So please, I'm asking you, this is, my personal thing. It's a boundary I have. And I'm asking you to please note it and respect that. I'm going to tell you how hard that was to put out there. And, but you know what? When I did it, I felt really good because I knew I was being true to myself. And at first it was extremely uncomfortable. I'm sharing this so you know that I don't care who you are. I don't care how much work you do. When you start actually doing the things, it can be very uncomfortable. I mean, I had some guilt around it, the twitch to check the messages, but then, something really beautiful happened. And it happened actually through that because not having that, I gave 100% to my kids, and that's all we did. I played with my grandkids, and I actually gave them full attention, and I didn't worry about somebody else. I gave that attention to them and my family. And the other beautiful thing that happened is, when I came back, my clients were fine. A lot of them, they were calmer, they were more grounded, but more important, they were more self-trusting. They trusted themselves. They knew that I didn't leave them, and they were fine. They had all the abilities they needed. They didn't fall apart. Actually, all of them rose up. They could have said they missed me, but I miss them too. It's just like I miss my grandkids right now. I mean, I miss my grandkids that live an hour away from me, right? I could tell you that I miss my kids when they were younger and they were with me every day. Okay, they're not younger anymore. They have their own families. That doesn't mean I don't miss it, but if I stuck to that, there would be no growth for them or for myself. You get it? They didn't fall apart. They rose up. When you set your boundaries with people, and they respect you, there's mutual respect that happens. And if there's not, and somebody really gets upset with you for that boundary, they probably don't respect you. And that is why I think a lot of people don't stand up for them, because they're afraid that they will see what they probably suspect. You see, if I had a client that really got upset with me because I took a week's vacation, I probably do not need to be with that client. That client does not need to be with me because obviously there's no mutual respect. There's no respect. Does that make any sense? I realized from this whole thing, I realized my boundary hadn't pushed anyone away. It actually brought more mutual respect into the relationship and actually made all those relationships much stronger. And the relationship that I had the boundary for with my family, saying like she really did this and she didn't do that. Like I'm used to my mom always working and picking up. It gave them a feeling of my mom actually gave it to us. My grandmother didn't let anybody else interfere with us. It's interesting because I don't have a boundary but if you had an immersion with me, when you do an immersion with me, you're with me 24/7, and I do not let anybody else in that space. I do not take any other calls. I don't do anything. In fact, when I look at my family, I say I'm going on immersion, you won't see me for 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, no matter how long the immersion is. And those people they know, because they know that there is a boundary there. Nobody gets in. And there's a commitment there that you get me 24/7, 100% in. Because boundaries don't end relationships, they reveal who's ready for real ones. Because a real relationship It's going to have mutual respect. A real relationship is going to be able to understand your boundaries and respect them. You will be able to, in a relationship where people go, I just want a partner. I don't want to be somebody's parent. I want to be somebody's therapist. I want a freaking partner. A true partner is someone who understands boundaries and respects yours, and you respect theirs. And it's not about, you got to do my boundary and you always do your boundary. No, I do my boundaries, but if you don't have any, you need to look at that. And this is where that comes up in relationship, right? Because boundaries don't end relationships. They reveal who's ready for a real one. The ones that are built on honesty, the one not obligation, the ones where presence is chosen, not demanded. Because a boundary isn't just something you set. It's something you keep sacred, even when it's inconvenient. And I'm going to tell you what, holding onto your boundaries, sometimes it's extremely inconvenient. Sometimes acknowledging other people's boundaries is extremely inconvenient. But I'll tell you what the reward is. The reward is clarity. The kind that only comes when you finally give yourself permission to rest, to reset, and to return whole. A boundary is not a rejection. It's a revelation. It reveals where the sacred begins. And let's be honest here, who feels this the most? Certain archetypes, I talk about this in my other programs, right? They wrestle with this more than others. It's the healer that thinks compassion means unlimited access. And if you notice, every time I talk about this, I am not free from any of these, okay? As I told you, I don't speak from a book, baby. I speak from experience. And I'm vulnerable, and I will share that with you because no one is above the law, okay? So, all right? The healer thinks compassion means unlimited access. Well, that's me. Like, yes, because, I'll just, be there 100% for you. Well, in immersion, you're going to pay for that time. So that's a little bit different. But to think that, my family's not more important, or to think that, me taking time for myself, there's something wrong there. Heal thyself, right? How about the empath? I love when people say I'm an empath, but an empath that feels everything, but really asks the question to themselves, is this mine? You see, an empath will feel everything. That's why, if you have a little kid who's an empath, they hate going to the mall. People will go like, yeah, they'll bring their kids to me. I go like, does your kid hate going to the mall? Like, do they start freaking out? They go, yeah, how'd you know that? Yes, every time I go, he gets cranky. I said, yeah, your kid's an empath. Your kid feels, and I don't like labels. So most people are beyond what we're beyond an empath. They're sensitive to energy, whatever. They have other gifts. But when they're like that, they hate going to the mall because when they're taught, they don't know. They just are getting everything. They're just getting everything. And after a while, imagine, crazy people at the mall and you're taking it home with you. Yeah, your kid is like, please get me the hell out of here. All right. And empaths, as they get older, I wonder, like, is that even yours? You really have to know if you're listening to this, you're an empath and you're having problems and you just sit around going, I'm an empath. I can't help it. Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You need to learn how to separate what's yours and what's not yours. So you know that your emotions coming in are yours that are tagging into something you look at versus you're picking up all kind of other people's crap, which is not yours. And you need to learn how to look at that and give it back. How about the teacher or the parent? You keep giving lessons that no one ever asked you for because you can't be silenced. It seems unsafe. This is the one to go like, oh, let me tell you about this. And let me tell you why we're doing this. And did you realize why you're doing this? Like, could you just let your kid just play? Can you just let, your kid figure this out for themselves? But no, I got to give you a lesson every 2 seconds. Like, nobody asked for that. Or for me, it's like, it drives me crazy when people are like, you don't ask for help. Oh, I do ask for help. And I could tell you some people out there that might be listening to that, they go, oh no, she's asked me for help a number of times. I have tons of people I ask for help when I need it. And I know who to ask, who can help me actually get through it. Not to be a burden to them, but I said, hey, dog, I know you know how to do this. Could you do this for me? Or do this. I don't say for me. Usually I say with me, right? I know when I need a chiropractor, and I know I can't do that myself. I know when I need a massage therapist. I know when I need other people to help me with things. I know when I need a VA to help me. I know when I need stuff. I know when I need to ask for information. But when someone comes to me and goes, you know what you need? You need to do this, this, and that. Well, I didn't ask. You never let me help you. Well, it's not that I don't need your help. If I needed your help, I'd ask you, but I've got that. Well, I want to do this for you, but I don't need that done. I used to love it. My ex-husband used to go, what can I do to help? And it would, be cleaning day. And I said, wow, if you dusted, that would be awesome. And he would just look at me. I was like, well, I don't want to do that. How about if I could do this? Like, I don't need help there. I need help dusting, right? It's like, I need help here, but I don't want to do that. Anything else? Like, well, if you ask me what I need help in, and I said, yes, I definitely need help here. And you go like, well, I don't want to do that. It's, it's crazy stuff, right? And then how about the leader who fears that limits will make them less lovable or less of a leader? If they set limits and go like, no, I don't do that. Are you going to teach me that? No, I'm not going to go there today, right? If anywhere on these, if your kindness to people ever cost you your peace, it's not kindness. I'm going to repeat that again, all right? If your kindness costs you your inner peace, your peace, it's not kindness. It's called self-abandonment, and it's dressed as a virtue. You gave yourself up. You sold yourself out. And that's why you're not at peace. Ouch. That comes with a Band-Aid. So let's clear all this stuff. So close your eyes if you want. Place your hands on your heart and breathe in. And feel the edges of your field just expand around you. And as you exhale and breathe out, you're going to feel all those edges. Your field is going to start to stabilize. And like soft light walls. And they're made of respect. Because we're going to stabilize your own respect of your own self. So when you breathe in, feel the edges of your field expand around you. And when you breathe out, feel them stabilize like soft white walls made of respect. Breathe in, feel the edges of your field expand around you. Whoa, and breathe out, feel them stabilize like soft light walls made of respect. And repeat after me, slow, nicely. I bless the gates of my being. I bless the gates of my being. My boundaries are living prayers. My boundaries are living prayers. They keep my energy sovereign, my love clean, my presence true. They keep my energy sovereign, my love clean, my presence true. My boundaries are living prayers. They keep my energy sovereign, my love clean, my presence true. And breathe. I release guilt for guarding what's sacred. I release guilt for guarding what's sacred. And breathe. My no creates room for my most honest yes. My no creates room for my honest yes. And the energy vibration coming to you right now is the courage to stand in your truth, for calm compassion in the act of self-honoring. So inhale strength. Woo, and exhale permission. Inhale strength and exhale permission. Inhale strength and exhale permission. So boundaries aren't barriers, they're blessings. Your energy field, think of it as a temple. It's not a public park. It is not open for everyone to play frisbee on you, all right? Your energy field is a temple, not a public park. And every boundary set in love is a new level of freedom. Wow. So in our next episode, we are going to do this little 5-day series. We've been working on dead alchemy, the return of radiance, and how to live in full color again after you've stopped dimming for anyone. And everything I mention in each episode, courses, activations, and upcoming rituals, you'll find here, right here on joycestech.com. Just look at the headers and have a blast. And remember, I love interaction. So join the weekly live or drop your questions and insights. It's called Q&I for you and I. Questions and insights for you and I. Thank you. You've been listening to Joyce Stech on the Joyce Stech podcast show. Let's talk beyond the surface. Can't wait to see you for the next one. Woo! Have a great one. Make it so.